Things are continuing to get interesting in the WWE World Heavyweight Title scene, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out what's going on with Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and much more. Starting things off with Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight Title scene. Seth Rollins has been the WWE World Champion ever since the end of May, and is starting to have a pretty lengthy reign himself as he quickly approaches 200 days as champion. Like Seth Rollins will often remind the audience about, he is a pretty active fighting champion. Seth has defended his world title at nearly every single premium live event since he first won the title. The only event that he didn't defend it at was Survivor Series, since he was a part of the War Games match. But immediately following the War Games match on the Raw after Survivor Series, Seth Rollins appeared to be back in full gear of defending his championship. He said that he was feeling like a champion again and wanted to get back to defending his title again on a more consistent basis. Now, before Seth was able to really continue that subject, he was knocked off track by several different little obstacles during his promo. One of those obstacles is obviously the CM Punk chants. Ever since Seth Rollins' reaction to CM Punk at Survivor Series was never shown on air or shown on any official WWE platform, everyone still saw Seth's reaction thanks to the power of social media. And regardless or not if Seth was a little bit too dramatic and over the top with his reaction, it still worked and fans took the bait and ate it up. Even the official Bleacher Report platform that nearly never talks about WWE even posted a clip of Seth's reaction towards CM Punk's return. So it was something that was seen by everyone and posted everywhere, despite WWE not showing the clip themselves. And maybe that'll change in the future. Maybe if CM Punk and Seth Rollins do meet down the line, maybe that's when WWE will show the footage of Seth Rollins cursing out CM Punk at Survivor Series. So even casual viewers that might not have seen the clip online would still be in the loop. But Seth was very dismissive of the CM Punk chants. His character seemed to be very disgusted with Punk and how Punk is trying to be happy and all smiles with everyone, as if he didn't trash the company for nearly a decade. That appears to be Seth's biggest issue with CM Punk at the moment. But like CM Punk even said in his promo, he has changed, and he's not the same person that he was all those years ago. Even Triple H echoed the same thing during the Survivor Series press conference, saying that everyone basically changes as time goes on. And you can even make the argument that Seth Rollins' character is a tiny bit hypocritical of himself as well. Here, Seth Rollins and others have been trying to get Drew McIntyre to forgive Jey Uso and accept that Jey has changed, to let go of the grudge from the past. And everyone has been giving Drew some flack for being so obsessed with Jey Uso and not letting go. But if you look at the CM Punk and Seth Rollins situation, it's very similar to Jey and Drew in a way. Seth Rollins is holding on to the past and refusing to give CM Punk a second chance to show that he's changed. So it's just a very similar narrative there. So Seth trashes CM Punk's name and says that he won't waste any time speaking on him. But then he's interrupted by Drew McIntyre. And Drew's storyline over the last few months has been very interesting because he's been spending a lot of time walking on a very thin line between being a heel and a babyface. He has been the biggest tweener over the last few months. He of course started leaning a bit towards more the heel side when he aligned himself with the Judgment Day. But like Drew explained on the Raw after Survivor Series, he never really saw eye to eye with the Judgment Day. They just promised to serve him Jey Uso on a silver platter, and that was enough for him to be convinced to align with them. But Drew McIntyre stormed out of the ring at War Games after Damian Priest was pinned, and costed them the match, and they didn't deliver Jey Uso like they said they would. So Drew instantly ended that partnership due to that failure of the Judgment Day not holding up their side of the deal. But we hear Drew McIntyre talk as if he's coming back down to earth a bit. He was saying that everyone was right about his obsession with Jey Uso. how everything Seth said was right, and really making it seem like he wanted another crack at Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight title. And that's when we get another big reveal from Seth Rollins. Seth reveals that he's already spoken with Adam Pearce about his next challenger. After a bit of stalling, Seth Rollins just comes out and says that Jey Uso will be the next challenger for the World Heavyweight title. And despite Drew McIntyre insisting that he was putting the Jey Uso situation behind him, he can't help it and absolutely implodes on Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre attacks Seth Rollins and questions him on if this was some kind of sick joke. And in this situation, Drew McIntyre does have a case to be a bit upset, because he did beat Jey Uso just a few weeks ago. So if anyone should be #1 contender, especially between Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso, it technically should be Drew. So he loses it and attacks Seth Rollins because of that reason. Jey Uso eventually comes to save Seth Rollins. They both take out Drew McIntyre, and Jey Uso holds the title in his hands and stares at it a bit before handing it over. And now Jey Uso versus Seth Rollins will meet for the World Heavyweight Championship. But there's still so many things surrounding the world title picture. Seth Rollins will have to deal with Jey Uso and try to successfully retain against him. And sure, Jey hasn't really picked up any singles big wins since his time on Raw, but you still are talking about someone who was half a second away from defeating Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal title at SummerSlam. So Jey has the fight in him to go all the way in a world title match. We saw it at SummerSlam, and we'll most definitely see it here again against Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins will also have to be on the lookout for the Judgment Day and Damian Priest's cash-in. Damian's master plan for his cash-in at Survivor Series failed, but we can most definitely expect Damian and the Judgment Day to continue to form more and more new plans until one ultimately works. Damian Priest has been trying to cash in during several recent big events, but something always ends up coming up that prevents him from cashing in. But it's only a matter of time before Damian Priest has a big breakthrough with his cash-in, so it's something that Seth needs to always be worried about. And of course, Drew McIntyre will be something to worry about too. After so long being a tweener, Drew's attack on Seth Rollins appeared to be truly the making of an official heel turn. So an evil Drew McIntyre that's now out for revenge for both Seth Rollins and Jey Uso will be something to fear. We'll also have to see if Drew's obsession with Jey Uso will continue. It's understandable that Drew would be upset with Jey Uso for his actions during his time with the Bloodline. But Drew is so strongly obsessed with Jey Uso as if Jey was the ringleader and the one calling the shots. It's like if Batman was to obsess and go after one of the Joker's goons instead of the Joker himself. Drew's obsession of hatred and revenge would make more sense if it was aimed towards Roman Reigns. So it's just a tiny little picky logic flaw there with that story, but we'll have to see where that goes as well. Seth Rollins in the World Heavyweight title is technically surrounded by Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Damian Priest, and even CM Punk lurking in the distance. So it'll be quite the uphill battle for Seth Rollins to overcome all of those threats. WWE has been teasing a tragic end to Seth's title reign, the way they've been focusing so much time and attention on his injured back, and how he doesn't want to slow down and wants to keep up being a full-time fighting champion. So eventually, it'll catch up to him. But who will take advantage of that situation is the big unanswered question here. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.